want to go through my whole life being the girl that murdered her mother. But now let's see what I do with my life. Oh, it feels so weird being in a car. Yeah, you're free. Made it. She's home. I have my freedom now. It's new to me. You consummated on marriage. Do you want kids right away? Kind of like a little Cinderella moment. The attention on social media. I'm not used to it at all. What do you mean the attention? I was engaged once before to Ken. I loved him so much. Hey, you. Ken came to visit. I wake up to the next day, I see them get matching tattoos. Sometimes I just think that I would be happier somewhere else. I want a divorce. I'm gonna be with Ken. I am late on my period. Gypsy texted me and said she was pregnant. Well, who's the father? I told y'all she was playing games. I've been told y'all she was playing games. We'll figure it out. I'm happy again, and I don't want to do anything to mess it up.
Imagine cheating on your husband, getting with your side dude, getting pregnant, and smiling on Lifetime's TikTok page saying, when they're like, Ken came, are we supposed to be proud that you were out here fornicating and made a baby? Lifetime is wild. I can't be the only one that thinks this is wild. And she's literally smiling. Y'all, what is happening? What on God's green earth is happening? I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words, y'all, on this one. She's diabolic. You unalived your mom for sausage. You come out, cheat on your husband. And what? I'm done, y'all. I'm done. This too much. Happy Tuesday, people. We are going to spin the block. Okay? So, buckle up, get in the back seat. We're spinning a block. I'm also adding a little bit of Wendy Williams spin a block too. So this is a Gypsy spin a block, but a Wendy Williams spin a block. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see the change of events over this last year. But let's go spin the block, shall we? You're actually right. Just because she was abused doesn't mean that she would abuse a child. But she also unalived her mom. That's the craziest thing in the world, right? And then she wasn't even honest about it. She still isn't honest about it. So that kind of shows a history of not really taking accountability, because she still hasn't taken accountability. She also used someone that had disabilities and pinned it all on him and took no accountability. She bought the unaliving weapon, that kind of thing. She comes out and her behavior has been really odd. So I don't think it's really about that. It's more about learning from your past, and taking accountability. And once you take accountability, that's where the growth is. So when you don't take accountability, you haven't learned the actual lesson. So you're right. It's not just because of that. I actually 100% agree with you. Also, she's only been out for 2 months. And I know that everybody likes the whole Disney World story of the happily ever after, but this is real life. And when you've had trauma happen, whether it's inflicted on yourself or it's just been things that happen, a lot of people, or life, history, human nature is after trauma, a lot of times people tend to act on trauma, which is natural human behavior. So, extensive therapy, help, and just life lessons make things better, So that's one of the things, is that hasn't happened long enough or been in place long enough for things to be better. So I think, people are being delusional by thinking, oh, it'll be happily ever after. That's not the way life works. You need to be realistic. And, I'm a very optimistic person, generally speaking, but I'm also a realistic person. So I don't live in a fantasy world, because I know that's not life, and I know that it is really important to take accountability, and that's where growth happens, like I said before. So I think that's where people are really missing this. And I notice that people that are commenting these things are either really, really old or really, really young. And that says a lot, because it's in the land of not really realizing that life has a way of coming back around full circle, and history does repeat itself. No matter what anyone says, history repeats itself. Wendy Williams' 4-part documentary starts tonight. The first 2 parts are tonight, and the next 2 parts are tomorrow. Now, what I think is crazy is that her people tried to stop this documentary from coming out, which makes me want to watch this even more. What is going to happen? What do we not know? Are you guys wondering that? So on Thursday, they tried to put in a lawsuit to stop it. Lifetime is still able to show this documentary, and I'm very interested to see what happens. Now, they're saying she's suffering from dementia right now, which I know is really sad to watch. You know, I feel awful for her son, because that's really the one that is going to suffer from this. But you know, she's a legend. She's an icon. Many of us grew up listening to her, and a lot of people have grown up watching her. My generation, we ended up listening to her on the radio in New York on 107.5 WBLS. I would get home from school, and I wanted to listen to Wendy Williams every day. She had all the tea, and she always gave her honest opinion. She never lied. She was just unapologetically her. And that's one of the things that I really love about her. No matter what you are, or who you are, or what you stand for, being unapologetically you is one for the books, and it's very respectable. So Wendy Williams, thank you for being you, and I can't wait to see this documentary. And you guys have a great day. Bye-bye for now. Okay, friend, we are personal friends, so I get why you could be triggered. My whole thing is, regardless whether you have been abused or not, you still got help, right? You still know what happened, you know it's wrong, and other things in your life, you have taken accountability for it. And I know, because I have personally had these discussions with you. This woman has not. So there's no reason for you to be triggered, because you have taken the proper steps. And yes, I know you do not abuse your daughter or abuse, you know, anyone in your life, but you've also taken accountability for allowing people into your life to do things to you, right? And you are more cautious with who you allow into your life, right? That's taking accountability, recognizing that you allowed this person into your life, and you can create boundaries to keep those types of people out of your life. And you recognize when you were wrong and you allowed someone to do something to you that was not okay. So there's no reason for you to be triggered by my comment, because my whole purpose of this is just accountability. You know, the more and more I read these comments, it makes me really realize that we live in a generation where we don't take accountability. Everything has to be we're the victim. And what I think a lot of people don't realize is, no matter what situation has happened to you in life, you have a part. Yes, you may be the victim, but you have a part in the situation. Any situation, I don't care what it is. And until you come to that point where you realize you played a part. For example, my ex-husband. Yes, things that happened that I didn't like, that I felt like was wrong, but I had a part in it, and I had to take accountability for that. And you taking accountability, accepting that, allows you to not only forgive yourself, but move on from it. But until you take that accountability and forgive yourself for it, you're going to be stuck in that same spot. And I urge a lot of you, because these comments really show me that the victim mentality is so prevalent, and so many people are unable to take accountability. As a mother, I stress to my kids accountability, because the world is going to hold you accountable whether you want to be held accountable or not. And playing the victim constantly really shows who you are as a person. And one thing I really pride myself on is integrity. I always want my kids and the world to know that my integrity was very important to me. It's not necessarily what you thought of me. It's more of me carrying myself with integrity. And I'm urging you guys to really get it together because I'm seeing that too much in a lot of my comments. Get it together. We know Diddy is in some big trouble. But the question really is, how much trouble is he in, right? Well, there's an attorney that I love to watch, and I saw something this morning that I think could be interesting. I want you guys to watch this and let me know what you think. I am going to leave my comment at the end.
Lots of questions have been coming forth about Diddy and his attorney, Rico. No relation to Rico. Why did attorney Rico file a motion to be relieved from Diddy's defense team? So let's talk about this. As an attorney, there are three categories on why we would move to get off of a case. Category 1, Mr. Green has not made a gratuitous appearance. So you and the client have a contract, you have a fee agreement. In the fee agreement, it says very simply, you pay me, I'll represent you. It is a contract. Contract, clear manifestation of a willingness of the offeror to enter into a contract such that the offeree knows that his or her assent is necessary to submit the deal. Fancy phrase from, I'm paying you to do something. So if the money doesn't show up, a lot of times we will file to the court and say, I want to get off the case. Number 2, and I don't think it's number 1, Diddy's got money he can pay his legal team. Number 2, if the client insists on lying, if the client insists on committing perjury. Perjury is getting on the stand, all rise, and saying, I'm lying. You as an attorney are not allowed to suborn, and just means put forth perjury. You can't put somebody on the stand if you know they're going to lie. Can't do it. A lot of times what you will see, and not a lot of times because it doesn't happen too often, but if you're ever watching court TV and you see a lawyer stand up and say, Your Honor, Mr. Blank would like to testify in the narrative, that means the lawyer knows he's about to lie, and the lawyer's like, you go up there and you just tell your story. I'm not even going to ask you any questions. Just sit up there and tell your story. Because the lawyer can't help him lie, so he'll let him just sit on the stand and just talk. Tell your story. And the lawyer just, you done yet? No, keep going. So you can't do that. I don't think it's number 2, because like we said, we have an avenue if Diddy insists on lying, testifying in narrative. 2, more importantly, they're not even close to the decision on whether or not he's going to testify. And 3, his ass ain't going to testify. So it ain't 2, which takes us to number 3, which it probably is. Their asses just can't get along. Whether it's Diddy and Rico, or if it's Rico and the rest of the team, somebody can't get along. And that is the number 1 reason why we file these motions to get off of a case. So if Diddy is sitting around and saying, I want to go, gotta go fast, want to go. And the lawyer is saying, look, man, this is terabytes of information. This is the federal government. We're not ready. The May date is too soon. And Diddy insists on going. The lawyer like, nah, fam, I'm not going to be a part of this trial. So that could be a reason why he can file it. Or if the lawyers have a completely different idea of what's going forward. Now, people are focusing on the language that Rico used, basically saying, under no damn circumstances whatsoever do I want to be on this dude's team. Believe it or not, that's similar to language that we all use. I think the language we use in ours is the attorney-client relationship is irrevocably broken to the point that it cannot be maintained or fixed. Translation, we can't work it out. So don't read too much into that language. That is basically him telling the court in no uncertain terms, we can't work this thing out. So people are saying, well, it is not finalized because the judge has got to make the final decision as to whether or not to let the lawyer off of the team. Because don't forget, the lawyer probably realistically has been paid. And so to just cut him loose, the judge's like, I need to know some more information. But what people aren't talking about, Diddy gets a choice too. So usually what ends up happening is the judge is going to say, Diddy, do you want him off of your team? So I think there's probably going to be a hearing. Usually when we file these things, not only do we file it saying, Judge, I've talked to the prosecutor, they understand, it will not cause any undue delay on the case. 2, I've talked to the other lawyers, they're fine. And most importantly, I talked to Diddy and he is fine with me off the case, because ultimately he does get the decision because he is the client. And we've had those situations. I've literally had those decisions where I'm like, I don't like his ass. I want off of the case. And the guy's like, but I love you. I'm gonna stay. You ain't quitting me, Sean Kent. You ain't quitting me. We together. And the judge has said, yeah, Ebony Ivory, y'all are together in perfect harmony. So a lot of those times you don't get cut off the case if you actually want to. So don't read too much in that. And then there's also people who are reading into the fact that the filing says, this does not violate attorney-client privilege. I have comported with the ABA standards. Those are required things because even when He's off the case, done with the case. He ain't writing a book in 5 years. He ain't writing a book in 10 years because that attorney-client privilege follows him even though he's no longer on the case. So he's telling the court, I'm not violating it now and I'm never going to violate it and I'm not going to violate it any time in the future. Even if that dude dies, I cannot violate attorney-client privilege. It goes with you. Take that, take that, take that, take that, take that. Still shocked that this case is on pace to go in May, but we'll see.
Now, I personally think that it's a little bit of a lot of this. Now, yes, I don't think that they're getting along, but why aren't they getting along? I do believe Diddy wants his attorneys to lie. And there's already been some things in the talks that he's been doing or his attorneys have been doing that are unethical. And I think that has a little bit to do with what's taking place right now. But yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting to watch this all play out. I don't know about y'all, but I think this is going to be good.